Let's get it. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in the Carolinas. Quite warm, but I'm so glad to see it, as every day I get. I've been picking up nails and screws all day. Well, I picked up one earlier. Stop lying. So I guess me picking up one now does make it all day, huh? Hopefully I won't have to pick up any more. And not that my truck will ever be on this path. I think about other folks and their vehicles. Like I said, I'm a taxpayer. So if an individual bus wanted to park tires out here, one of the park rangers trucks tires, then that's costing us, the taxpayer, more money. And less money going to, I would hope, better things. But I think that way nowadays. Before I didn't care. I would say, well, that's somebody else's responsibility. But I think the older we get, some of us get a little bit wiser. And I said some of us for a reason. I had a fellow parked too close to me in my original spot, where I would like to do my recording. And then there's ladies over here in the island area where I like to do my recordings. So I guess we'll venture on back here to my third spot. And see how goes it. I do hope everyone is well, and that you too are able to get out and enjoy this beautiful day that the Most High has given us all. Pardon me. Rejoicing in it and being glad that you too are able to see it. And be in the land of the living today. I don't think park officials would mind me sliding this picnic table in the sun. Because I'd most definitely rather be in the sunshine, or should I say in the light, as opposed of the darkness. As I was just saying before I was fidgeting with my camera, you may see a little oil under my fingernails because I just fixed my tire on my bicycle, and hopefully it'll hold. I have a few extra tires in my storage locker for this particular bicycle for occasions like this, and I swapped it out and it seems to be in good order. Thank the Most High, but we'll see. That feels better. And I do have a great thought I want to share today. And this air feels so good on my skin today. I heard somebody say something like that before. That sun feels so good on my skin. And I guess it's the way they say it's skin. Like they was, I'm not gonna say that. Like they was really enjoying themselves, let's put it that way. And how do the chapstick always roll itself out while it's in your pocket? I know how, but I'm just asking. And my thought for today is coming from a very simple script. Well, I have a couple of scripts, but the main script is coming from one of my apps that I like using. And it's Matthew 24:35. It says, heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. And my thought is, are you standing on the rock or sinking sand? Are you standing on the rock or sinking sand? And the script I just looked up that the Most High just reminded me of was Luke 6:46-49, and it is the wise and foolish builders. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, or Master, Master, and do not do what I say? As for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like. They are like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house but could not shake it, because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who builds a house on the ground without a foundation. Oh boy. The moment the torrent struck that house, it collapsed and its destruction was complete. And that reminds me of, you see them homes built beside lakes and, well, rivers. I guess you can say lakes, some lakes, but they're built beside the rivers, and the rivers flood, and the lakes, the house, little by little, they start breaking off. And that's a sad image. And I say that because in my mind's eye or in my spiritual eye, I see a man that has built his life on total profane doctrine. And this is what Yahusha is saying here. He's saying that those that have built their house on words that are besides his. And basically what I'm saying is, they're saying you don't have to follow his commands. He said, I haven't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. The law of the prophets, that is. But yet and still, we don't want to follow the laws and commands, as he found a tradition to do. And I heard a debate between two well-known preachers, and they was fussing about Yahusha keeping the law, and if he made it a command for us to keep the law. But see, as the Most High began to deal with me about this thought this morning, he was telling me some things that was written are not even negotiable. They're not even up for debate because they're a part of the culture. They're part of the Hebraic culture. And it's an understanding. You don't have to ask questions about the dietary laws or keeping the Sabbath or any of the commands the Most High gives us, because it's an understanding. This is just what you do. See, the Most High had it written in his book. He said, in my own words, I am the Most High Elohim, and I change not. That means what he said yesterday stands for today. And see, I've learned that in my relationship with him, that's how I grow. I take situations that he brought me through and out of from way 15, 20, 30, 40, and I say 40 some odd years ago when I first met him in my father's front yard, looking up at the sky. I heard him speak to me. And I told my grandmother, and she said, well, talk back to him. Talk back to him. And she didn't say, well, you a little off. No. She said, talk back to him. Talk to him, he'll talk back to you. And see, that has been our relationship up until this day. Now, I'm not saying I've been perfect in my communication with him, because just like every hard-headed, stiff-necked chap, we go away from what we think is right, from what our parents tell us is right, and do what we think is right for ourselves. And we call that our truth. And we learn very quick that our truth is built on that shaky sand. It's built on sinking sand, just like beside that river. And like I was saying, that mental picture that the Most High just gave me is like a building that's being torn away little by little. You know, a little piece of it fall off into the ocean, and you're standing there looking at that house or building and like, dog, when is the rest gonna go? It's already started. What part of it is gonna be next, or is it all gonna go at once? And that's a sad reality when you know that you're going down and there's nothing you can do about it, because you built your foundation on sinking sand. Or like this text says, you haven't built the foundation. Because basically, if you're not building on a rock, there's no foundation at all. Even if you put together a foundation, part of the foundation is the rock, which is Yahushua HaMashiach. Like the text said, he is the way, the truth, and the light. No man can come up to Abba without going through Yahushua, the physical representation of the Most High. See, what he is basically saying, you have to accept his ministry, his physical earthly ministry, before you can go up to the Most High. Because if you can't understand that ministry and accept it, and accept that sacrifice he made for us, you're not, you're not going to meet the Most High. Or when you do, it's going to be Depart from me, I don't know you. And see, that's what Yahushua is saying now. Many of folks are building their foundation on false doctrine. That's saying that part of the Most High's word is done away with. And that's so untrue. How could it be done away with? When, like I said, he said he's forever the same, today, tomorrow, yesterday. In my own words, you know what I'm saying. But see, we have to take the Most High's word on face value. That's just like, put it this way, just like dealing with my father. If my father told me to do something 35, 40 years ago, he haven't changed his mind, because that's the upbringing he's shaped me into. But see, just like I just said, a lot of folks have been brought up and shaped in iniquity, as the text says, and it's false doctrine. See, what they like to say, a lot of folks like to say, and I'm not calling any names because like the Most High told me, his word is not up for debate. It's the truth. And see, they like to say it's the new covenant or the New Testament. But there ain't nothing new. What he did was renew the testament, renew the covenant, because we broke the first one. So he renewed it. That's just like me talking about my father. Now, he's not going to tell me to do something as a chap would do, but his original command that he gave me 35, 40 years still stands. He's not going to say, okay, it's okay to eat pig when that pig is still the dirtiest animal in the kingdom of all animals, I would say. One of them anyway. And how we look putting that nasty food in our mouths. And yes, I was raised on a pig farm, but like my mother always told us, she said, when you learn better, you do better. So when I was taught that, I had to put barbecue down. I couldn't eat barbecue no more. And I love eating barbecue just like I used to love getting high. I used to love my marijuana. And it was mine back then, but it's not mine anymore. Because I had to cast them things down. Because I saw that they was harming my physical body. And the Most High told me not to do it, so I had to not do it. He has his own reasons. See, we like to try to put the Most High in a box because of men's doctrine. Because of, like the text says, someone's preaching another Yahushua, another Jesus. But, like I said, it's no, just like I wrote in my notes, it's no debating or misunderstandings with the Most High's word. And first, because, like the text says, it's written by inspiration of the Most High and given to his people who wrote it, the Hebrews, us folks. Our people wrote the book for us, by us, and it was for inspiration for us, so that we will be perfect in all our ways, as the text says. Let me read that, because I don't like misquoting text. I like saying it, that it's in my own word, but all scripture is given by inspiration of Yahuwah, the Most High Elohim, God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. And see, what righteousness is, our culture. The Most High's right way of doing things is our Hebraic culture. And see, he gave us this culture, laws, statutes, commands, for us to keep in order that we would show the world how to live right or righteous. Pardon me. But see, we was ignorant and wanted to enjoy the other nation's culture. We wanted to take on their gods, their beliefs, their traditions, their ways of doing things, their righteousness. So the Most High had to punish us as his children. And oh boy, did he ever. So he had to scatter us into all nations so we could get our fill of those nations' culture. We had to get a feel of those cultures of the nations around us, all the way in every four corner of the earth. And now here's where we find ourselves. But we're turning back to the Most High. We're calling on His name, His real name, Yahuwah, the Most High Elohim, and Yahusha, His Son, which a lot of folks call Jesus, the one that came, bled, and died for us to have right. We're standing with the Most High, a righteous standing again. And like I said before, there's no way to the Father without the Son, because He was the sacrifice the Father gave for us to become back one with Him and to regain our culture, which is most important. And that's going to be my time. I think we got this thought over today, especially as one that was given to us on the fly. And I wouldn't even say that, especially one that we were able to speak on or bring out on the fly. And see, it don't make a difference if I study all day and all night. If I'm not listening to the Ruach when it's time to present it, then I'm not going to bring it out the way He wants me to bring it out in the first place. But I would highly recommend today, as my word of encouragement, to seek the Most High's face, as I always say, through His Ruach HaKodesh, and ask Him, how can you get closer to Him and make sure that you're building your house on Him, the firm foundation, and His words. See, it's all about His words. It said in the text, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Him, the Most High, and by Him He created all things, by the Word. So we need that firm foundation on what He has to say concerning us, concerning our culture. And we need to get back to our Hebraic culture. And see, once we as a people get back to our Hebraic culture, then we can influence the world. See, we are chosen as the Most High's special people, His chosen people, like I said, His children. The apple of His eye, as the text says. So He wants to show us off to the world. Like the text said, we are the light of the world. We're that city that sits on the hill that cannot and shall not be hid. But we have to be standing on the hill. Like I said yesterday, every day is an opportunity that the Most High has presented us with. And when we're walking in line with Him and His Word, then opportunities are going to open up like the Reed Sea or the Red Sea, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to walk in those divinely appointed opportunities. And on that word I say hallelujah. Let's get it. And I'll share one more thought my grandmother taught me. She said, always leave things better than you found them. And a lot of us don't like doing that. And a lot of times that means just putting things back the way you found them. Just like me with this table. And yeah, I see some other ones that's outside the shelter on the ground. But I can't leave this one out on the ground because that's not the way I found it. And if other folks come, they'll have to move it back under the shelter if they want to use it under the shelter. And see, that was just like me picking up that nail. We got to start thinking about other folks. Okay, let's get it.
We praying and we praying, trying to get right. All esteem to you who shine my light. Soul searching through the scripture, find my birthright. Vengeance is the Father, ain't gotta fight. Return to the gunner, that's my plight. World full of darkness, I'ma glow light. 11:59, time to catch flies. We praying and we praying, trying to get right. No time to play games, no Nintendo. I keep it real in the truth, no pretend. You get the real thing, ain't no demo. We setting up shop in the ghetto. Pull a bruise out the slums. Here we go. This is straight talk, no echo. We do laws, statute commandments. Hello. Got me strumming like a banjo. Got me sitting, I was once sitting low. Had to repent for them sins I once sold. Now cry a lot of spare, now I let it show. The rule I hit you, how you like, whoa. All in these scripts, so these verses I throw, it's straight narrow, and they ain't letting go. By my father biz, man, it's something you need to know. On with the word and my ammo, jumping, stumbling blocks, ain't stubbing my toe.
We praying and we praying, trying to get right. All esteem to you who shine my light. Soul searching through the scripture, find my birthright. Vengeance is the father, ain't gotta fight. Return to the country, that's my plan. World full of darkness, I'ma glow light. 11:59, time to catch flight. We praying and we praying, trying to get right.
Trusting in the Father, everything I do. Been washed clean, I gotta stay true. Woolly hair rockin', I'm a Hebrew. Quam Yasharah, yeah, that's my crew. Elevated couple levels, spiritually I done grew. Had to lead the world, I guess I'm acting brand new. Prayer line to the heaven, know you who'll get me through. Faith in the Mashiach, another breakthrough. True Umunah, man, ain't no miscue. Sold out to the Abba, to my people, Yahoo. Bible study poppin', all these scriptures run through. Psalms 19:9, the word and the truth. It's about salvation, the Father got our back, no matter what we facing. They can quit tracing, ain't no replacing. Go and find your hood, and it's so amazing. Fruits of the Spirit I'm embracing. All esteem to the Most I'm praising. Kahalal, my arms raising.
We praying and we praying, trying to get right. All esteem to you who shine my light. Soul searching through the scripture, find my birthright. Vengeance is the father, ain't gotta fight. Return to the country, that's my plan. World full of darkness, I'ma glow light. 11:59, time to catch flight. We praying and we praying, trying to get right. We praying and we praying, trying to get right. All esteem to you who shine my light. Soul searching through the scripture, find my birthright. Vengeance is the father, ain't gotta fight. Return to the country, that's my plan. World full of darkness, I'ma glow light. 11:59, time to catch flight. We praying and we praying, trying to get right.
No time to play games, no Nintendo. I keep it real in the truth, no pretend. You get the real thing, ain't no demo. We setting up shop in the ghetto. Pull a bruise out the slums. Here we go. This is straight talk, no echo. We do laws, statute commandments. Hello. Got me strumming like a banjo. Got me sitting, I was once sitting low. Had to repent for them sins I once sold. Now cry a lot of spare, now I let it show. The rule I hit you, how you like, whoa. All in these scripts, so these verses I throw, it's straight narrow, and they ain't letting go. By my father biz, man, it's something you need to know. On with the word and my ammo, jumping, stumbling blocks, ain't stubbing my toe.
We praying and we praying, trying to get right. All esteem to you who shine my light. Soul searching through the scripture, find my birthright. Vengeance is the father, ain't gotta fight. Return to the country, that's my plan. World full of darkness, I'ma glow light. 11:59, time to catch flight. We praying and we praying, trying to get right.
I know some of us may be asking, Robert, I thought you said you was gonna be doing 200 squats a day, but it seems you're only doing 60 or 50 per day. And I say good observation, and you're right. Sometimes when you injure yourself, you have to jump back. What the commercial say? Gently, 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 gently. not too fast, because we don't want to re-injure ourselves. Because I know.
I understand. I ain't never heard of that, so I just said that.
I like that.
Hi, y'all.
What's up, big homie?
You got it, bro.
What is it? Well, hey, what it do, man? What you want? GoPro? What it do? What is that?
Something like that.
Yeah, hey, same camera yesterday, 229 the code, right here, broad here. I ain't never changed my age. I'm smoking the product that I'm smoking.
Sound click.
Already.
Stay up. Our folks love attention. But even though we're put in they're given the opportunity for the good attention, we rather have the wrong attention. Just like in all of what he was saying. He said, I'm from South Carolina, Rock Hill, and we love to smoke weed. Oh yeah, he shouted out his hood also. But none of that made any sense. Because what you're doing is not leading to life, put it that way. You're building your house on sinking sand. And see, I always speak on my testimony about who the Most High delivered me from being. And notice I didn't say them things I used to do this time. Because I was born in iniquity and shaped in sin. Born into sin and shaped in iniquity. And therefore, that's who I was. So when these folks say they were born this way, they're right. They were born into that environment, into that family, into that culture. And see, we were all born into this evil culture we find ourselves in now. Because we ourselves been here for 400 some odd years. But it's over. It's over now. It's over now. But yeah, we have to start embracing our true culture. Us folks, that is. And then those that want to cling to us, like those folks did coming out of Egypt. And those folks did when they saw we was destroying all our neighbors. They came and told a lie, which is what they do, to save their skin. But see, the thing about what they did do, they cleaved to our folks. Because what they did, just like them folks that left Egypt, the first Egypt that is, they saw that they was on a sinking ship. So they had to change all the ships, but captains. And see, when you have to change captains, see, that captain there has different rules. Which means you gotta follow the captain's rules. Pardon me. And when the captain says this is how things are gonna go, then that's how things are gonna go. I'm not really winded today. This is just Tuesday's workout after Mondays. And there we go. I see the air conditioner is cut off in this building today. That reminds me, I was thinking this when I said it, that just like when I spoke of that food truck being parked on the park property, the very next day it was moved. And see, truth be told, I don't know if they have this air conditioner on a temperature or not. That picture ain't gonna work. We better get it. And see, just like I was talking about me picking up nails and other trash, somebody just left their dog poop on the path. And they know better than that out here. They're supposed to bag it. But see, just like some of us follow rules, just like our text of the day, most don't. And most are building their house or they're standing on sinking sand. There we go again. Another nail. And that's a builder's nail. So I don't know why it's on the path. But just like anything else on the path, it was brought here by somebody. Yeah, I was at my storage bin today. Like I said, changing out my tires, and saw almost ran over a screw. And it was one of them little short and stubby screws that would have flipped up and went right into my tire. And even though I have practically new tires on my truck, which they're only like a year, but they're them good ones, Pirellis, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong. And see, I've learned from my father that it's best to go on and make the investment while you have the money. And then you won't be buying one or two at a time. You buy all four when they're new, and they'll last you a good 4 or 5 years. instead of steady rolling on used tires, which 9 times out of 10 are not made for your vehicle. Oh boy, what a mouthful there. And see, that's how it is with the Most High's word. We have to invest in a new word, like he made me do some 5 or 6 years, about 6-7 years ago. He said, Robert, I want you to go to school. I was so excited. I said, oh boy. Because I had been wanting to go back to school for the college, but just haven't had the opportunity, I guess you would say. Or just hadn't taken the opportunity. Let me take a squat. And we was just talking about this on our family text today. Well, it was one posed, an idea that was posed on yesterday evening. However, I didn't answer until today. Because I'm learning also in my life that you can't rush anything. And just like now, if I don't have something to say, I just won't do no recordings each day. But because I present myself to the Most High, just like I do on the Sabbath day, with the rest of the brothers and sisters that's presenting themselves to Him, when I present myself to Him every day, then He can use me for His benefit daily. He can give me a daily idea or thought that's not only going to benefit myself, but will benefit those that He have chosen to see it. And I was so inspired. Let me say this before I go back to the thought about our family's text, the idea that was presented. But I had one of my aunts send me a comment he made on one of my recordings. He said, you bless me almost every day. Every time I watch your recordings, it's a blessing to me. And now my family watches it with me. Whew. And family, just like then, almost caught tears. And I laughed so I won't cry in front of the camera. I'll boo-hoo now. I will boo-hoo. But at the same time, that moved me. Because that man told me that he trusts me with my ideas to his children, to the next generation. And that so inspired me, which basically the Most High told me that a lot of my recordings are for the next generation, that this generation won't appreciate them or even watch them, but it's for a future audience. And how can I question that? I can't. But yeah, back to that idea about our family's text. My sister presented a thought about letting sleeping dogs lie. And I said, oh boy. Because the first thing I thought of was something I just heard an individual say about dogs and cats. He said he's not going to have a dog or cat in his house that's not getting up and going to work at the job. Because they're basically freeloaders. Any pets, I should say, that's what he said. So he's talking about any kind of pet. He was like, they just freeloading on him. And he won't have it. So that's what I was thinking about when I first heard that idea. I'm like, any dog that's just laying around on me, I'm gonna kick him. And then that thought transpired into one that I am going to kick that dead dog, which is an ideal old thought. I am going to kick him to see if he's alive and to exhaust its energy and basically going to kill it. And as the conversation went, we was talking about pardon me, this joke over here banging on a little drum with his white girl. Well, pardon me. But we was talking about whether we should bring up old ideas or basically suppress them and let them lay and be dead. But the thought came to me how volcanoes are lying dormant. That a lot of times they're just lying dormant and waiting to erupt. And my idea about that was we need to bring them ideas to the surface and deal with them. And then when you find them out of place and you have already dealt with them, then you cast them down by the Most High's word. Like the text says, you cast down every imagination or thought that tries to proceed above the Most High's word. But you have to speak that thing. You have to put what the Most High says about you on every negative idea. But let's get it.
Trusting in the Father, everything I do. Been washed clean, I gotta stay true. Woolly hair rockin', I'm a Hebrew. Quam Yasharah, yeah, that my crew. Elevated couple levels, spiritually I done grew. Had to lead the world, I guess I'm acting brand new. Prayer line to the heaven, on your hood, get me through. Faith in the Mashiach, another breakthrough. True Umunah, man, ain't no miscue. Sold out to the Abba, to my people, Yahoo. Bible study poppin', all these scriptures run through. Psalms 19 and 9, the word and the truth. It's about salvation, the Father got our back, no matter what we facing. They can quit tracing, ain't no replacing. Go and find your hood and it's so amazing. Fruits of the Spirit I'm embracing. All esteem to the Most I'm praising. Kahalal, my arms raising.
We praying and we praying, trying to get right. All esteem to you, who shine my light. Soul searching through the scripture, find my birthright. Vengeance is the Father, ain't gotta fight. Return to the clinic, that's my plan. World full of darkness, I'ma glow light. 11:59, time to catch flight. We praying and we praying, trying to get right.
And I want to give a shout out to my Elder Ed. Who does so inspire me with his recordings. And the opportunity he gave me to share my testimony. But I was watching one of his recordings on yesterday evening, and he reminded me, or should I say he echoed, something a doctor told me as far as breathing techniques to not only get your blood pressure in line, but to get your pain down, or to get your pain what's the word? Regulated. Pain management skills, I guess you would say, just by breathing. And it's all about slowing down in life and really taking a look at the situation and or your circumstances, your environment, your circle, your sphere of influence. And the first thing we all have to do or needed to do to find success in life is to cut that sphere of influence down. like folks say, cut your circle down some. And that's a good point, because you can't have a whole lot of folks on your team anyway. And if you will notice, the Most High's main men, they only had a few individuals in their presence. Just like the Most High had on Yahusha when they walked up the mountain. When he took his disciples up the mountain, he only took a few and revealed himself to them. And see, that's a good word, because you can only reveal your true self to only so many folks. But we're gonna get it. This little doggy is a little too close to me. His folks don't got him on a leash, which is a law around here to have a dog on a leash at the park. But I learned how to just walk away and stay away. Let's get it. And like I said, we're gonna end it here. We're gonna jump on this bike, the Most High willing, to get us 5 or more miles in. Like I say, I swapped out that tire earlier today, and I'm hoping that it's holding air. And if not, I do have a backup that I'm ready to swap out the inner tube, so it still has air in its tire. But it's a front tire, so I would have to swap it out and put on the rim that I had on the bike when the tire went flat. But we'll see. Hopefully, like I said, we won't have to do no pulling off a rim or tire with the inner tube and all that right now. I wish I had tubeless tires on this bike, but my pockets ain't that tight yet. But it's okay, we'll get it one day. How you doing? Good, great day. Hopefully we'll get that right soon, but as for right now, I'm just hoping when I get back to the truck, I have 2 forward tires and a smooth ride ahead of myself. But as always, and I always like to say, stay up and keep pushing forward in the right direction. And that right direction is only found, like we said earlier, on the rock, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, known as Jesus the Christ. And just like the sister said, we're not saying that Jesus the Christ isn't the real Son of the Most High Elohim. No. We're saying he is, but we use his real name. Because Jesus was just created some 400 years ago with that letter J. And how are we going to call somebody that's not their real name anyway? Even in translations, you don't translate a person's name. Just like folks all around the world call LeBron James. They'll say a million words you don't understand, but then they'll say LeBron. Same thing. But like I said, we ain't getting into all of that today. Not today. Why so much? I want to hold that thought. And I will ask that question. What's the important? What's most important? What's most important? Is it your pride that's keeping you from accepting the truth? The truth just don't fit your agenda? Or like we brought up the script, you're just too far gone. You've been born in sin and shaped in iniquity. And you don't want to hear nothing else. And see, that's why I so appreciate what I saw in the news yesterday, which was a great win for us all. The governor of Florida has deemed it basically illegal for a transgender male to compete in female sports. And he did it on the first day of Pride Month. So I say kudos to him. That was a very ballsy move. He grew a pair. And see, also what you have to realize is most politicians are like them little dandelions. Yeah. They blow where the wind of change blows them. And mind you, it's not always change for good. But it's the change of their most deep-pocketed constituents. Because I can guarantee you that governor could care less about the women's sports in his state. Like he really made it seem. No. Not on that one, I say no. He cared more about them pockets. And how many votes he's gonna get the next election, so he can keep filling them pockets up. And I must say, if he's different, then I apologize. I'm man enough to do that. But I would love to see one out of the last million or billion politicians, that is, go against the grain. Or should I say the status quo, the norm, business as usual. But anywho, that was a win for all of us that think that fair is fair and that right is right and wrong is wrong. Let's get it.